Joining me now is Seth Kaplan, managing partner at Airlines Weekly. And Seth, welcome back to the broadcast and a happy 4th to you. First off, let's talk about the industry, which also says there are more seats available this summer, not fewer. Is that true?
Well, that's true, Alex. One irony of this is that, Justice Department probably working on this for some time, but just as this comes out, actually the reality is changing again. Fuel prices have dropped, and there are sort of economic incentives when that happens for airlines to start growing again. So just as we have this complaint that they're not growing, as we look into the schedules for later this year and into early next year, actually they are indeed growing at different rates, but almost all of them to one degree or another. And the good news for consumers is that that will almost certainly lead to somewhat lower airfares. Maybe not back, maybe what they were back in the good old days, but lower than they have been recently.
Okay, but as you know, The Guardian ran this headline, Airline Collusion. It's nothing new and will be difficult to prove, and that's according to analysts. Seth, what do you make of the investigation? Do you think the Justice Department has enough evidence to prove its case?
Well, that's the big question. If there was some sort of, smoke-filled room, as you might say, where, executives from competing airlines were jointly planning capacity, then absolutely, they've got a case. Or if they were doing so over phone or email or what have you. This talk that, well, they were all talking about capacity discipline. I mean, think about what that is. These are companies that are saying, we need to match supply with demand to get fares so that we can break even. I mean, isn't that kind of what every company in the world is trying to do? So that's really the question. I mean, look, a few things are indisputable. A decade ago, yeah, it was cheap to travel. I guess kind of keeping with the Independence Day theme, right? We almost sort of got used to our fourth inalienable right, along with life, liberty, pursuit of happiness from the founding fathers being that $150 ticket to Disney World, right? The problem was that those low fares, along with high fuel prices, pushed these airlines into bankruptcy. So they restructured, they merged. They started charging all those fees that everybody hates. And yeah, they started not growing as quickly as they did before. The question, where that's been very good for investors, very good for employees, who aren't facing layoffs all the time anymore, not so good for consumers. The question, Alex, is did they do anything illegal to get there, or did they just all sort of learn the same lessons to prevent themselves from ending up in bankruptcy again?
And I guess we'll see what the DOJ has to say about that relative to the investigation. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Seth Kaplan.